Good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, folks, and we're already one episode into this week. Welcome to the show. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. Not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, haven't been to seminary. Not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here today, this evening, to talk about tonight is Jesus. Issues are surrounding him. So if you are curious, looking for answers, and maybe getting some insights into what it's like to be a Christian and what Christianity is all about, welcome to the show. Please tune in, listen to what I have to say. Hopefully it can serve as some sort of primer for you from a layman. Been a Christian all my life. That's 39 years, and just trying to offer my perspective on how things are as a Christian. We talk about Christian issues as they relate to actual Christian topics and world topics with a Christian perspective on them. So tune in. Also, if you're interested in just listening to Christian content, here we go. Be here and be part of the chat. Anybody, come on in, be part of the chat, and be a contributor to this live stream. That's what this is all about. It is not just me talking whatever I can. It's also about what you have to say, your perspectives. So if you like to do that, like I said, come on in. If you're catching it live, be part of the chat. Like and subscribe. Share with anybody you think would be interested in this. Or if you're catching this on the replay, please, by all means, leave a comment in the video below. I try to respond to all of them because the channel's still pretty small right now. With that said, still like and subscribe because that's how I get bigger. That's how I get bigger. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, folks. This is Nico, Derek, Dresden. How's it going? I'm a little bit early tonight, and the reason is the same reason I was late last night, VBS. So I wanted to run an early stream tonight, and I might do this tomorrow and Thursday as well, because it will allow me to be finishing up by the time the kids are getting home from VBS, so I can help the wife get them ready for bed and put them away and see them off to dreamland, and that would be good. So some of us might not be here that usually are, so I know that I'm going a little bit off schedule, but have at me. Nico is still first in the chat. Trying to shake him. Can't shake him off. I feel like Cougar at the beginning of Top Gun. Can't get that bogey off of him. Got a missile lock on me with his cat ear picture. I just can't seem to do anything about it. I need somebody to go inverted and flip him the bird for that memery. But in all seriousness, welcome everybody. Dresden, Derek, Nico, welcome to the chat, and anybody else who might be tuning in. Get some things out of the way. Wanted to give a quick shout out to a friend of mine who got engaged today. Congratulations, sir. Olin, I know you say that you try to tune in from time to time through Facebook, and just wanted to let you know I'm happy for you. You're a good dude. And congratulations. Looking forward to those nuptials. And what else? What else is going on? Oh, we had some Supreme Court decisions come down. One of them was a win for I think for religious and personal freedom, involving a case in Maine where vouchers were being given out, and the argument was, well, if you're giving me public vouchers for alternate school sources, why can't I have why can't I just send my kid to a school that I want that's religious? And somehow they think that promotes religious schools. No, people completely misconstrue the separation of church and state. They completely construe religious freedom. They don't understand it because they don't want. I think they do it purposefully, either purposefully because they don't want it, or they naturally do it because they're afraid of religion, because they don't like, especially particularly Christianity, because they don't like being confronted with the idea that some of the things that they do aren't always accepted in Christian practices. So, some things we do as a secular society are frowned upon. Many things we do as a secular society are frowned upon. So, that's a good win. That's a good win. We'll see how the abortion one comes out. I did talk to Nick Recated during the last live stream we had with him, and like I said, he is interested in doing an abortion episode with me. Once that comes out, we'll start to schedule that in. I'll try to weasel my way into that schedule. I have this. You know why I have this? Because the Frosty machine was broken. Come on, Wendy's. All those piping hot takes you've got on Twitter, and you're gonna break just like a McDonald's ice cream machine. Sad, disappointing. This is not of Christ. Wild Weeb's probably still expecting this show to start at 8:00. Hopefully, we get him on the back end. And I don't know how long this show is going to run. I just started it early because if you guys give me some stuff to talk about, I'll talk about it. Nico says, I don't know why, Stuart. I only have 2 cats. Davis hate me so much. I don't hate you, Nico. This is all in good fun. I don't like cat ears. I don't like cat ears. When I play Halo, the new Halo, which I play begrudgingly. I play Halo begrudgingly, but every time I see one of those helmets with the cat ears, I want to shoot that person more in the game. Because I find it disrespectful to I'm an OG Halo player. I don't like what Halo's become. I actually thought the last Halo, Guardians and multiplayer, was actually pretty good. I liked what they did. And what did they do? They completely messed it up. Halo now is terrible. Yes, Dresden, I play games. I play games a lot. Play a lot of games. Nico says, I hope the justices will remain unharmed until the abortion decisions comes out. Yeah, it's getting a little dicey. I think they'll be okay. But you can't trust the lunatics out there. And there we have a media that plays us against each other. So, it's okay to protest. It's okay to get this is all legal. It's okay to protest. It's okay to disagree with things. It's okay to use. I encourage everybody to vote, even if it's a write-in. Even if you're writing in a vote for somebody or an initiative, vote for it. Use that voice that you've been given to do what you can to promote what you want, or promote, if you think it's an issue, promote what you think God would be best serve, or what would best serve God's interests. Just go forward with that. And but once a decision is made, this is not the time for violence. Though you could argue that if with children's lives, babies' lives on the line, it's definitely a heart-wrenching issue. I don't understand people. I don't understand why people do not understand the pro-life movement. So many of them are. I don't know. I don't get it. Nico, how much do you like the new Halo TV show, though? I don't watch it. And I won't. The more I hear about it, the less incentive I have to watch it. To me, it's a dumpster fire. Look, the Halo universe, and I read the Halo books back when it was like the first three books were out. And I thought that they had the beginnings of a very rich narrative that they could do with the Halo series, beyond just John, and I think that they have to a degree, but just saying, hey, look, we've got this great premise, and it's with a loyal fan base and a great things, and we're just going to toss it out. We're just going to toss that out, and we're going to give you what we think you want. Sorry, checked out. And apparently it's gotten a little weird. Dresden Halo 3, I like the single player Halo 3. I did not like the multiplayer at Halo 3. I was a Halo 2 big time fan of Halo 2. Halo 3 was meh. I feel like they tweaked the sniper rifle too much. And I didn't like it. The maps were pretty cool, and some of the other things they did were pretty cool. A lot of the different weapons, but playing this new one, man, they have changed so much of what. There's no Gauss Hog, there's no fuel rod cannon, there's no all the things that were part of what made Halo great are gone, and so Halo's not great anymore. And they had such a good thing with the open world platform and everything. I was happy, and then I played the multiplayer, and then I was unhappy. And Dresden says, I like my chief with his helmet on and not in another person. Yes. But they got to. They can't help themselves. Cannot help themselves destroy the institutions that people love. And, you got to gatekeep that stuff. Just look, it's nowhere near as important as gatekeeping Christianity to hold tight to the fundamentals. But it is kind of it's the same core concept. Like, you have something that's great and you want to keep it great. And the difference is you're not adding new things into Christianity. Christianity is the truth. Jesus set that example, and we are still in that way. But when you have something that's great and you have a community that's great, you don't let people come in and just change everything just for the sake of changing things. You can ruin what you have, and you got to gatekeep that stuff, because we do have a structure, we have rules in place for a reason. So anyway, tonight's topic is Rick Warren. Rick Warren, if you don't know who he is a very popular megachurch pastor and part of the Southern Baptist Convention. I know we've talked about this. Southern Baptist Convention does not represent all Baptists. Does not necessarily. They don't control what Baptists are. I want to get that out of the way. But they are a coalition of a lot of Baptist churches, or a lot of independent Baptist churches. A lot of independent Baptist churches, and it gives them all some sort of organizational process, but they're not as, from what I understand, they're not as institutionalized as something like the Anglican Church or the Lutheran Church, or obviously the Catholic Church and Orthodoxy. But Rick Warren is a big name, and then some of you, if you've been in non-denominational Baptists, just independent churches, you may have heard of The Purpose-Driven Life, which I have never read and not interested in reading. But many people consider it to be problematic, and other people look upon Purpose-Driven Life as inspirational. I don't know. I'm not really one. Said I live in the book day to day. And to me, it's too easy to fall into the trap of getting into somebody else's writings and somebody else's whatever you want to call it, project of Christianity, where you might follow it into a bad path. Sometimes, and not to say that there aren't good lesson plans out there for Christians, but you gotta be careful with that. Other Paul Paul's in here. Good dudes, go check out his channel. The Other Paul. I was actually watching before the show. It popped up on my YouTube recommended. It was from a year ago. It was about he was doing did like a 5-minute response to a former Methodist pastor woman pastor, former pastor, and just tore her apart on trying to pretend that homosexuality isn't discussed in the Bible at all. And like I said, he did a good job just ripping her apart. He is funny. He's a funny guy, guys. Even though he's fake, he's a fake Australian, because Australia is not real, as we all know and understand. And he talks upside down. His channel is very much he is very much a solid channel where you are going to get a little bit more scholarly takes than anything I can provide, because I don't dig into things too much. I keep things very much on the surface level and give you a knee-jerk, from the heart reaction to what I read in the Bible, but I'm always open to hear what other people have. And I do I do enjoy having folks on to talk about their stuff. And I owe some scheduling with other Paul to have him on this show, as he had me on his, but he's going to come on here, and I think I've got a couple of topics, so I think it might not be a one-time thing. Bring him on for different issues, and get his takes, because like I said, he's worth watching. He's worth watching. So go over to his page and give him a sub, and take in what he has to say. Rick Warren has been a Yahoo for a long time. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Other Paul, Rick Warren baptized Jesus to show some respect. He does think that. I mean, I would not put him past him to announce that after he had so this is what this all comes down to. So the Southern Baptist Convention, apparently they have this annual convention of Southern Baptists. They have this annual convention to do different elections, different meetings to I guess plan the future of the SBC. And there has been some chastising of Rick Warren, because he has been ordaining women pastors, and he is actually stepping down of his megachurch, Saddleback Church, and he is being replaced by a husband and wife pastor team. Look, I'm not going to get into this gender in the Bible discussion on why it is the way it is, but it is the way it is. And too often people play around with instructions to their detriment. And I'm not to say that I'm any different, that I haven't screwed up, I haven't misinterpreted the Bible, maybe put my own beliefs ahead of other people's. But I'm not a pastor. I'm just a dude talking about it. And I'm being very upfront at this thing that I am a layperson. I'm not an expert on the Bible. I haven't studied it in Greek. I don't know Hebrew culture, idioms, or any of that other stuff. I'm not a theologian. I just read the Bible as it's been published and give you my takes. And I tell you that I've seen things and I've felt things that compel me to Christianity, that it is the way, the truth, and the life. And not because Jesus said it, but Jesus's words are backed up by his actions and the world around us. And that's my thing. Rick Warren, on the other hand, and other people like him, we talk about the Kenneth Copelands and the Joel Osteens and the Rainbow Lutherans that are out there. Everybody wants to use their platform. It seems so many folks want to use the platform that they're given on the pulpit, and that's why me and Eric Roland have these episodes that we do. They use this platform to promote their way of doing Christianity, and not Jesus's way of doing Christianity. And some of it is for self-serving purposes, for personal gain on a financial way, and some of them do it in a political, feelings, philosophical, whatever reasoning. But it's out there, and that's the part of the problem that power gives you. And look, that's not to say that the other people in the Bible are even remiss about that. We see David, King David, may have errors, and King Solomon, when they, as we'll read as we do our Bible readings, when they refuse to take down the idols that are put up, by the people that they don't destroy completely, and some of their own people, just to false gods and demons. It happens. But Rick Warren's been doing his own thing. And here's the problem. I don't know how many of y'all have ever tried to assemble something, whether it be some IKEA furniture or a TV stand, TV wall hanger, any type of kit, a model airplane, whatever. You're given instructions. And this is the way that you're supposed to do those instructions. Now, my dad, love him to death. He's great, and he's very smart. But my dad, he's very famous for looking at something and saying, I don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, or I do understand why they're doing what they're doing, but I know a better way of doing it. And sometimes that works out in his favor, and sometimes it don't. Me, when it comes to assembly, I revert back as much as I can to my military training, and I do what the instructions tell me until I get to a point where I realize that the instructions may be leading me into the wrong place. The good news is, when we have the instructions given to us in the Bible, those instructions we can put our faith in. We can put our very lives in and trust in them. Our eternal souls we can put into the Bible. And you can have the idea that maybe it's not infallible, or maybe that's not all of it. Doesn't matter. If you follow the strictures in the Bible, listen to the words of Jesus, listen to the words of God, you're set up for success. 100% set up for success. But if you decide that you see what the Bible's doing and you think you can improve upon it, or you can do it a better way, let me tell you, son, it's not going to end well for you. And if you're in a position where you're teaching other people, you're screwing them up too. You're taking them down with you. And maybe folks like Rick Warren don't care. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they like the attention. Maybe they genuinely believe they're doing the right thing. But they're not. So there were many fundamentally sound folks at the Southern Baptist Convention this week, and they brought up there was some consternation about him being there, and some wanting to change some bylaws, rules, or whatever guidelines about his ordaining women. And so we're going to go to a Protestia article, and these guys are friends of the show. They have a very traditional, very fundamental perspective on things. I'm not going to say I always agree with them, but they do offer a lot of in-depth coverage. So you do what I do, which is read the words and read what they're saying, and get what information there is to be had about it. So Rick Warren made a surprise appearance at the SBC 22 convention and spoke for several minutes uninterrupted, using his time to list all of the accomplishment he has done as the largest Southern Baptist church in the world, in order to stave off criticism he has received for ordaining women pastors, bragging about all his accomplishments, while telling attendees that they need to stop bickering over secondary issues like what gender the pastor is, and instead focus on the Great Commission. Now, what he's calling the Great Commission is basically the instruction to proselytize the world, go out, convert people, save them. And let me expand this a little bit. Convert people and save them. Bring them on as bring the faith in God to other people. And it is genuinely one of, if not the primary primary missions of the church. But you don't let the main focus blind you from all the stuff going on around you that is irresponsible and stupid. It's reckless at the base, at its very core. This came after the Credentials Committee revealed that they were not going to remove Rick Warren's Saddleback Church from their rolls after he famously and unapologetically started to ordain women pastors, at least for now, and that they had to study the issue, resulting in resolutions being brought to the floor rebuking him and demanding that his church be removed. Now, SBC, look, the joke used to be with Southern Baptists that they were very fire and brimstone. They were very fundamental, and they were very, for lack of a better word, judgmental about things. This is the rules. You're a sinner. You're going to die. You're going to go to hell when you die. That's the stereotypical take of the Southern Baptists. Very fiery, very, very dramatic. And that is what it is. But in recent years, they have lost their backbone and lost their spine. And it feels like they have become more worried, like many non-denominational churches. They've become very worried that they're going to lose seats, and that they are going to lose their dominance in American Christianity. That's just my take. I could be completely wrong here. This is just how it strikes me. So I don't have a whole lot of faith that the Credentials Committee is actually going to do anything to Rick Warren. He probably brings a lot of money into them. And unfortunately, with a lot of churches, money talks. By way of context, Rick Warren is the outgoing lead pastor and overseer of the 25,000 members, 14-campus Saddleback Church, who announced that he was stepping down to be replaced by a husband and wife pastor team. So he's ordaining women. He's being replaced by a pastor team. No, I can understand a husband and his wife, a husband pastor, or a pastor and his wife, because we do lose the focus that women can teach other women and women can teach children. In fact, I would say in many cases that should be encouraged. So there is plenty of incentive for women to be educated and sound in theology when it comes to things. If you're part of a good church culture, you have women getting out to hang out with each other. Sometimes it's good. Just like men need to go and hang out with other men and have some time around themselves, so do women. It's just part of being people. And me and my wife are a team, but I know that there's things she gets out when she hangs out with her friends that help her grow as a person. Not to say that they replace me. They don't. They serve their own purpose. And so a good women's group should be led by somebody with some sort of education, training, or understanding. So I don't have a problem with that. But when you put it up a husband and wife pastor team, now you have lifted her up to leadership over the entire church, at least the congregation, which consists of women, children, and men. 25,000 members, 14 campuses. That is ridiculously large and way too much for one pastor, in my opinion. Because when this stuff happens, who puts it in check? Everybody's looking up to this guy, right? The purpose-driven life was all over the place back in 10, 15, 20 years ago. He is famous for peddling the church to the poison and spiritual strychnine that is the purpose-driven life for over 4 decades, a damaging and unbiblical theology that has seeped into tens of thousands of churches, becoming part of their identity. I don't know anything about purpose-driven life to say that there's any credence to that, but Protestia obviously has a very strong opinion on that. Nernaeth, Jesus summed up the law and grace in a few verses. You don't have to be a scholar to call BS. Yeah, you don't. You don't. God elevated plenty of people, I would say more people than not, from humble beginnings to prominence, to be great. King David is a perfect example of that. The other Paul, functionally Pope Warren. Yeah, I almost said that because it struck me as very Pope-like, very, very Roman Catholic-y. But I didn't want to take a shot at the Catholics by comparing them to Rick Warren. They've got their own problems without me casting dispersions on them like that. Are they getting a new pope? Paul, do you know if they're getting a new pope? I heard something about that they might be getting a new pope. I saw that. And not just Paul, not just the other Paul. Lutheran Satire released a video today about the Pope. And so that's another channel with another gentleman I need to bring back on here. I want him to talk about baptism. Just a great channel. It's very funny, especially if you have a basic understanding of the difference between denominations in Christianity. He pokes fun at him, pokes fun at himself, which is great. Over the last few years, he's raised eyebrows for announcing his church was having a, quote, blacks-only worship service, unquote, where no white members were allowed in, so the black fold could have a safe space to heal, and for blasting white Christians for having no discernment and not caring about black people. He probably doesn't believe that. He probably said that because he thought it would be popular to say. In his speech, he tells the convention that he has no intention of defending himself against questions that they might ask that would inevitably expose his biblical infidelity and inconsistency, comparing himself to Jesus being questioned by Pilate. Yeah, we're going to get into that. I'm just going to I'm going to skip all that part because we're going to get into it in a second. Because let me pull up this.
Take a moment to extend a courtesy. Rick,
Southern Baptist of 149. First, everybody, welcome to Orange County. Southern Baptist of 149 Southern Baptist churches here. 90 of them started by Saddleback Church. Wow. It's customary for a guy who's about to be hung to let him say his dying words.
Oh, so much cheers, so many clapping. I'm sure they're all happy to see him.
I have taught my kids and grandkids for years. I am most like Christ when I refuse to defend myself. The Bible says Jesus spoke not a word unto them when Pilate accused him of all kinds of things. So I have no intention. I have most of you on my mailing list anyway, and I can write.
Unmitigated gall. Two parts to this. Number one, I am most like Christ. Shut up, Rick. This is not the way to go. You can say, I take inspiration from Christ when I act this way. But as somebody who is a public speaker, who has made a career, a multi-decade career. Now, like he'll say later, he spent his life in this church, with this church, speaking to people and talking about Christ. To compare, I am most like Christ when I do this. That's all the way. That tells you all you need to know about this guy's opinion of himself and other people. Secondly, comparing the convention for calling you out to Pilate getting ready, accusing Christ of things, full stop. Full stop. You've lost the plot. You are against your fellow Christians. They are trying to call you to task for something that is, I know, is biblically unsound, but at the very minimum is it's worth an argument about. So it's not like they're coming out of left field and attacking you about this. There's a legitimate discussion to be had about this and what you're doing in your behavior. And you're saying, oh, well, look at all the other things I used to do or I have done and that I am doing. We don't care about that. Sin is sin. We can't say that it's okay to sin here because you're so righteous over here, assuming that you're actually righteous on it. You're not. But even if it was, look, all of King David's accomplishments are great. That doesn't absolve him of murdering a dude after you got his wife pregnant or having a dude killed. We'll call it murder. We know what it was. Still, absolutely atrocious representation of the faith and of yourself. It's just they ought to have booed him off the stage at that point.
Right, you and tell you what I believe about the gift of pastoring as opposite from the office of pastoring. But
yeah, try to split hairs over it. You're not doing a good job. You're just trying to say, oh, well, the spirit of pastoring is why I do ordain women. I don't care.
That. Lunchtime, I wrote you a love letter, and I'd like for my likely last convention to read it to you.
Good. I hope it's your last one.
Kay and I could have not built Saddleback Church to its size and influence in any other denomination.
Baptists on life support. This is your fault. He just said it. He couldn't have done what he did without you guys in any other place. Where's Paul the Anglican going? He wouldn't have done it here. Lutherans and Anglicans and Presbyterians, of course, Presbyterians, they got their own issues with Tim Keller and other people, but yeah, Rick Warren just sticking that knife in a little bit further. Couldn't have done it without you guys.
I love Southern Baptist. I am a fourth-generation Southern Baptist pastor. My great-grandfather was led to Christ by Charles Spurgeon and sent to America as a church planter.
Good for him.
Saddleback was sponsored by the North American Mission Board. I served on the staff of the California State Convention and the Texas State Convention as a teenager. Billy Graham picked me up when I was 18, and for the next 52 years mentored me because I started at 16 years old, hired by the California Convention to preach youth revivals, and I had preached over 120 harvest crusades before I was 20. Billy took this long-haired, skinny
Right. I'm assuming none of you guys are teenagers anymore. I'm assuming most of you are probably outside of your early 20s. Do any of you think that teenagers doing things as teenagers is a credit to themselves? They are the most cringe people on the planet. Let me talk about all the great. Look at all this humility here. This is the most humble person you have ever met. Nobody is more humble than Rick Warren. I've got some good chats. I see some good chats in there, guys. I'm going to get to them.
Californian and mentored me for the next 52 years. Here's my love letter to you, because I really am grateful. If this is my last convention.
I'm sure you are.
Because of Southern Baptist polity, I was allowed to serve one church for life. That's not possible in those denominations. And grew it to become the largest church in this convention. Because Southern Baptist gave me a passion for evangelism and mission, we baptized 56,631 new believers. And as a Southern Baptist Church, sent 26,869 members overseas to 197 nations.
To do what? I'm assuming that's mission work, but who knows what this stat is about.
Taught me the value of a membership covenant. 78,157 members of our church signed our membership covenant after taking a 4-hour membership class. Because Southern Baptist taught me to emphasize the priority of Bible study. We now have 9,173 home Bible studies in homes in 162 Southern California cities. Because Southern Baptist taught me the value of church planting. What are you teaching in 9,000? I already mentioned, we planted 90 in Orange County alone, and literally thousands around the world. Because Southern Baptist taught me to honor and love the local church, I've had the privilege for 43 years of training 1.1 million pastors.
All right, I'm assuming when he takes 1.1 million pastors, he's not talking personally. He did it because he did some sort of video. He's doing some sort of video or class or whatever that other people. He didn't specifically teach or mentor 1 point whatever million pastors.
Sorry, friends, that's more than all the seminaries put together.
Yeah, that's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
So
I'm not a big fan of seminaries, but that's not the same thing.
Thank you, Southern Baptist, for shaping my life. And in closing, I want to ask you to consider a couple questions. You're never going to find another Baptist who agrees with you completely on everything.
Find another Christian.
There are Baptist brothers here today who don't believe Jesus died for the whole world.
There's a Baptist pastor right now who's talking, who doesn't believe that when the Bible tells you that women are not to be pastors, that they shouldn't be. Okay? That you could just do it whenever you want because you know better. Because you've ordained 1.1 million people, more than any seminary, because you made an online class and put it on there for people. Getting ordained is not a difficult thing. It isn't. It's like becoming a justice of the peace. That's not a big thing to brag about. Talk about how many people you baptized. Yeah, that's impressive. I like that. I like baptizing people and bringing them to Christ. But what doctrine have you brought them up in when you're doing the things that you're doing? And it still doesn't excuse when you get sideways. And just because we disagree with things, the people who watch this show, y'all understand. I love the Catholics, love the Anglicans, love the Lutherans, love the Presbyterians. I love the Baptists. I love all these guys out there, even the ones I'm not thinking about that I just forgot to name. They're all coming to Christ, trying to come to Christ the best way they know how. When they're following the fundamentals of the Bible, that's how you get there, right? And maybe they might disagree on doctrine or theology or stuff like that, or stuff like that. And maybe they're interpreting the Bible a little bit, but they still got, even if they are interpreting it different, it's still the core fundamentals are still there. Still there. It's the people who come in and try to modernize it and do the thing that Rick Warren is doing. Yeah, you can't do that in the back. It's been happening everywhere, Rick, and you're part of the problem. Because when somebody tells you you're wrong, you just can't accept it because you know better. Because Billy Graham picked you when you were 16 years old to come do stuff because you were an active Christian and maybe you were very charismatic and maybe you did and maybe perhaps I'll did do some good. But Billy Graham ain't the Messiah, dude. Billy Graham ain't even Paul, okay? Stop coming off as Joseph Smith like you're the next prophet and that everybody needs to follow you. I don't like it. I don't try to make this comparison 100%. But a lot of these folks who sit on these platforms and they write these books and they tell everybody to come read my book, learn what it's like to be doing to do this. The Tim Kellers, the Andy Stanleys, the Kristen Dumez's out there who all have got their books and they're all peddling their crap. How far removed is some of this stuff from the Book of Mormon? And I know the book. And look, I have not gotten up on my Mormon soapbox. There's a lot of nice Mormons out here. Their theology is crap. And that book is full of so many errors. It's not even funny. Not aside from the fact that the whole fact that it exists on its own is heretical. But we're talking about somebody assuming and claiming that he's got the right approach to things, and that there's new stuff. You got to be very careful when you come out with your own books on the way to live a Christian life. I don't like that. I haven't liked it. I don't feel comfortable with that. And it's not just a new thing. When something written back in the 1800s, something written back in 1100s, I know I'm not going to fall for the fact that just because it's old, it's good. The very early stuff that's getting done, the stuff first two centuries when Christianity is coalescing, and a lot of this stuff, a lot of people who are still alive, who were there for Christ, are still there, kind of fomenting, or kind of putting all this stuff together. That stuff I have a lot more faith in. But once we get a few generations removed from Christ's resurrection and ascendancy, I start to just drift and be like, yeah, there's probably some good in what he's saying, but I'm going to stick to the Bible. This is my personal approach to things, because the fallibility of man is very real, and it's very much illustrated just in the first 5 books that we just got through reading. We first got through reading together, that we finished up last night. How many times did man screw up? From Adam to Cain to Abraham to Moses to the Israelites, and we're just through the Pentateuch. All right. So that's why I start to worry when one person writes a book. And look, there's some great theologians out there, and I'm not trying to say that they're stupid or what they say does not have meaning. It is not wholesome and not correct. I'm just skeptical of it. So I have removed myself to just focus on what Scripture says, and try to apply it as best as I can. When I see this come up here and I see people talk like this, I hate it. I hate it, because he's taking his conceit, his hubris, his self-centered attitude, and he's putting it on the pulpit. And he hasn't just been doing this. Isn't just a recent thing for him. He's been doing this for years. And maybe he started off as a pretty good pastor. But he's chasing the culture instead of trying to define the culture. And so many of those people, they might be super charismatic, and they might make plenty of money, and they might put seats in churches that would just make anybody gawk, except for the Pope. But that's not the core principle. It's not about how many butts you put in a seat. It's how many souls you're saving along the way. And if you're leading them down the wrong path, you're not saving them. You're setting them up for failure. You're setting them up for failure. And if they do get saved, it wasn't because of anything you did, except for giving them a Bible and telling them to read it.
But we imagine somehow get along with them. So as Western culture grows more dark, more evil, more secular, we have to decide, are we going to treat each other as allies or adversaries?
I don't know, Rick. What are we going to do? You just compare. Look, no, hold on. Wait a minute. You just compared your critics to Pilate, and you just compared yourself to Christ, and you're telling me you want people to be allies and not adversaries? Get out. This is just, and this is me break. This is within minutes on the speech. This isn't like he said it one day and then the next day he said something else. This is in the same speech, talking to the same people. Let's be allies, not adversaries. No, dude, no. You burned that bridge when you started throwing out accusations from the most heinous crime on earth.
Second, since this is the year 2022, that means we are 2022 years from the birth of Christ. Now, we know Christ started his ministry at 30 years of age. Luke tells us that, had a 3.5-year ministry. Christ died in AD 33. He was resurrected in AD 33.
Circa.
He gave the Great Commission in AD 33. He sent the Holy Spirit and started the church in AD 33. That means 2033, just 11 years from today, is the 2000th anniversary of the Great Commission. I hope one of you, because I won't be here next year,
Good.
will make a resolution that Baptists take the next 10 years to finish the task of the Great Commission in our generation before the 2000th anniversary of the church. Are we going to keep bickering over secondary issues? Are we going to keep the main thing the main thing?
Oh, there it is. And that was what it was all building up to. That was what it was all building up to. That. Are you going to criticize me because we disagree on something that's legitimate? Or are we going to focus on the main issue? Yes, we want to focus. And look, the idea of getting the SBC to focus on the Great Commission as the next 10 years, next 10, 11 years, that's awesome. But they don't say, let's ignore all the other traps that we can fall into along the way. It's charging the enemy lines and ignoring the fact that there's barbed wire in the way. Ignoring the fact that there's landmines. You're just going to throw everybody out there instead of taking the smart approach. Instead of being decisive and wise, instead of using wisdom. I'm not going to play the rest of it. I'm going to wrap the show up soon, within the next 8 minutes. I'm going to go through these chats. But this is what ticks me off when I listen to stuff like this. And you wonder why the SBC is in turmoil. There are some legitimately righteous people within the SBC. Good people. People that you can slide into a Baptist church and you can get a great sermon if they've got the right pastor up there. And you can get fulfilled. I'm Anabaptist, so I relate better. I relate well to the Baptist in some respects. In many respects, the joke that non-denominationals are Baptists, that we share some commonalities. So I agree with some of the things. I don't agree with how the SBC has been governing itself, and I don't agree with how they've been allowing this guy to do the things he's done. He should have been booed off the stage from the beginning. He should have been booed off the stage at the end. Because it was entirely self-serving. It was all about me. I mean him. All right, let me get into the chats. Other Paul, I'm not going to defend myself, but I will self-aggrandize. Absolute meme. Absolutely. Nernaeth, I am just reminded of that verse. Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied and done miracles in your name? And the chilling response, depart from me. You who work wickedness, I never knew you. Works are a symbol of true faith, a symptom of true faith, not the substance of it. Amen, Narnaeth. And that's what I put it a little bit different. The way I describe it is good works are the wake of true faith. You leave when you show true faith, your works are left behind in your wake. And it's not for you to look back upon until the end and look back unless you're trying to take stock of how you're doing. It's behind you. It's the past. Don't perseverate on it. Don't get a big head over it. So yeah, Nernaev, I'm 100% behind you right there. That's where I think there's some confusion with the Catholic ideas behind that, because they're very works based. I think that you shouldn't have to worry about it with truth. With your faithful, the works are coming, right? And they might not be tangible. You might not be able to even see them. They might be there, because you never know how the way you act and the way you carry yourself and the way you help other people affects them. It might not hit them now, but it might hit them 60 years from now. Nico, he is bragging. He's bragging is what he. This wasn't written very well, Nico. I want to do this one justice. What he did as a teen when he's over 60 is he's bragging about what he did as a teen when he's over 60. Yeah, exactly. It's not even a grand speech. It's not even that grand of a speech. It's kind of weak. It's not hard hitting. It's not. It's not thoughtful. It's just, look, you're a pastor for 25,000 people, and this is supposed to be your swan song for the SBC, and that's what that was. So lacking in substance and anything thoughtful. Wild Weeb. Oh, you started early today. Yep. Wild. Good to have you here. We were just talking about that. Nico was looking for you, and I said, Wild might not know I started early today. So keep your eyes open. Like I said, 7:30 might be my starting time for Wednesday and Thursday. It's going to be late Friday because I'm taking my son, me and my dad and my son are going out Friday night. I rescheduled because of VBS. We're going to go out Friday night to watch Top Gun Maverick. Porcupine Mayhem. Rick Warren is breaded. He absolutely is. He is leaven bread. Wild Weeb got diagnosed with visual snow, so my vision is going bad. Is that a permanent condition? Is that chronic? Or is that something that can hail? Nernaev, good people, beautiful people, maybe the best people ever. That's what he should have done. Rick Warren should have done this the whole time. I'm late. Stuart, can you summarize the stream? Basically, hubris and a megachurch pastor, and who's leveraging his presence and how much he's grown against a church body that should be acting against him, and is trying to. I'm sitting there now, saving money on rent, get more space, the ability to host some family if I can convince them to move my state. Hey, look, I got a nice enough house that most of our family functions are hosted at my house, and I love it. I love having everybody over. Love my family. Fig, mother tries to get me to listen to him. You were the one who also said that she's a big Copeland fan, right? Or an Osteen fan, one of the two, or both. There's a way to do it, but just try to get her more into the Bible instead of getting her into pastors. Wild Weave, it's chronic. It'll be the rest of my life. Sorry to hear that. I have been blessed with very good eyesight. I love the fact that I have, and I'm sure that anything happening to it will be a very sad and humbling event in my life. So pray that there's some treatment with it, and that it doesn't get too debilitating for you. So, all right, guys, I'm going to close this up. Go hang out with the family, and just want to let you guys know, Wild Weeb, glad to have you here in the end. This has actually been a pretty good stream. I've been very happy with it. Fig, Nico, Nernaev, other Paul, Porcupine, Dresden, Derek F. Anybody else listening? Anybody else who's caught this? Happy to have you part of the chat. Happy to have your ears to listen to me. Please tune in. Like I said, like and subscribe, share. If you know anybody, like I said, the best advertising is word of mouth. So if you guys know anybody, either online or whatever, just say, hey, I know this guy. If you want to be part of a discussion, and you can spare the time, here, give them a listen, get them a subscribe, and love to grow the community, love to grow the channel. That's the kind of mission I got here. But the first mission is not to become like this gentleman right here. All right. And these are guys that we need to pray for as well. As much as I'm angry with the things that he says, as much as I'm disappointed in what he's getting across, he can use prayers. He can use prayers like anybody's, because this is a man who needs it just as much as any of us do. And just remember, this is a good example for us to remember that when we're high on our soapbox and we're high on our high horse about things, maybe we need to be more careful about it, right? Myself included. All right, everybody, and we thank you for shilling me every chance and get that grift the grift of God going on out there. Everybody, tomorrow night we'll be back on here, maybe starting Joshua, maybe doing something else. But in the meantime, you guys have a good night. Be good. God bless.